Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at classic albums, or favourite albums of mine, which are in my CD collection. And this is Stranded by Roxy Music from 1973. This is their third studio album. Before this, we had For Your Pleasure, 1972. This was recorded in September 1973 and released November 1973. So a very quick release there. And it's 41 minutes and 6 seconds long. It was recorded at Air Studio London, and it's on the Island record label. It's produced by Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas is a great producer. Bands that he's produced are Climax Blues Band. Also, it's worth remembering he was also did the mixing of the Dark Side of the Moon album, Pink Floyd's classic album. Sex Pistols is their producer. Pretenders, Elton John, In Excess, Pulp, Wings. He's produced all for these great artists and bands. Now, the cover photograph is taken by Carl Stoiker, and the gatefold cover concept was styled by Anthony Price, and it shows Playboy model Marilyn Cole in a very striking pose. Wasn't quite as controversial in terms of display as the next album would be, Country Life, but yes, it is a striking cover. I mean, just a little bit of background about Roxy Music. They were formed in 1970, and their first studio album was 1972. They released Virginia Plain as their first single, and that was a massive hit single. It really propelled them, as did appearances on like Old Grey Whistle Test, which at the time was quite a big thing because the terms of audience, they were sort of had a tag of being sort of art rock, not just pop. And also they were getting people who liked prog rock interested in them as well. So the audience is always interesting with Roxy Music. Now, the importance of For Your Pleasure as an album is, well, I would rate it as highly as this one. I think if you consider what is the greatest, just in my opinion, or a lot of people's opinions, it's always between For Your Pleasure and Stranded as in terms of Roxy Music's best album, their greatest album. There are a lot of cases where, you know, you would think which is best and for whatever reasons. You see, the importance of this album is that we have a big change that Brian Eno has now left and continued on his way. Brian Ferry was always the main writer. Well, he was the writer of behind Roxy Music. This album sees a change as well. The other members are credited with writing as well. He's still the principal writer, of course, Brian Ferry. So we have Brian Eno leaving, and he's very influential, certainly in the sound of Roxy Music. And then also we've got the bass player, John Porter, leaving. He leaves, and he becomes a producer, and he ends up producing albums by Roxy Music as well as Brian Ferry's solo albums as well. They had quite a good relationship together, even though he's as a bass player. And as a producer, he also produced The Smiths and Billy Bragg and some other artists as well. They're just two names that just stood out for me. So we've got two new band members joining on this album. And does that affect the quality? Does that affect the direction of the music? Well, we'll go through it and examine if that has an effect. But clearly, as I've kind of hinted at, this is a highly well thought of album, and well, it's quality. It's a quality, it really is. The band. Let's go through the band. We've got Brian Ferry, of course, vocals, piano, electric piano, harmonica, principal songwriter, and also the album cover was his concept as well, which is again another striking album cover. We've got Andy McKay playing oboe, saxophone, very much part of Roxy's sound, wonderful. And then there's somebody I really like to give a lot of credit to is Phil Manzanera, guitarist. He's just a special guitarist. He really is. Again, adds so much in the sound, really, to Roxy Music. And then we've got the drummer, Paul Thompson, again, one of the original band members. Fantastic, excellent. And then the new member we've got is Eddie Jobson, who plays synthesizers, keyboards, electric violin. So we've got an interesting addition here. Also, his background is interesting. He was his first band was Curved Hair. Curved Hair, what a band they were! Short-lived, but the band. Also, in part of a sort of a prog rock supergroup, if you could say UK. This is what he did with Bill Bruford, legendary drummer. Yes, Genesis, all sorts of people, and also it had John Wetton playing with them as well. I saw Bruford with Eddie Jobson playing when Bruford formed his own band. Sometimes he do live performances, and yeah, that's another story going off, and also work with Jethro Tull as well. So you can see a very interesting influence, which really filters into what Roxy are about as well. That they have this prog rock background as well, and it's reinforced there with Eddie Jobson. Then we've got John Gustafsson, who plays bass guitar, and he has a very interesting career, going quite way back, really. Groups like the Mersey Beats he was in, a prog rock group called Quatermass, who I've never heard of. I came across on this research because it happens to be one of my favourite films. Um, yes, that's fascinating as well. He was also in the Pirates and the Ian Gillan band, which were a pretty good band. So again, he's just adding more interesting things to it. Oh, this album. Yeah, really, it's good. It's great. I'm loving it. So you get an idea maybe why the album is as it is. Um, then I think it's worth pointing out on the Welsh male voice choir appear on Psalm, which adds that amazing track as well, and then just a bit of sort of trivia information. Chris Thomas, the producer, played bass on Street Life because apparently John Gustafsson just wasn't happy with his bass line that he tried to get. And Chris Thomas came in and he found one himself, and the band loved it. And there it became part of Street Life. Yeah. So what I'll do now is look at the tracks. I'll just give you an idea of what the tracks were. Street Life opens, and then we've got Just Like You. Then we've got Amazona, which now this is interesting because it's written by Brian Ferry and Phil Manzanero. So we've got a collaboration there, which is a change. Then we've got Sam, which I mentioned, with the choir involved. Then we've got Serenade. And then we've got an epic song, A Song for Europe, which was by Ferry and McKay. Yeah, so Andy McKay has now joined in on the songwriting. Then we got Mother of Pearl and Sunset. Now, all these songs blend so well together in the whole album. You can see it's almost, they've been deliberately put in this order. I say it opens with Street Life, which incidentally I should have said, Street Life was the single released in November 1973 when the album came out, and was an instant hit. And immediately, Street Life showed the influence of Eddie Jobson, who was involved in certain. We get this recordings of the Street Life, as it says, the sounds, which apparently actually they attempted to record some in the studio, but it didn't work out. So they used some from Morocco. I don't know, but there it is. And some of discordant sounds again, influence of Eddie Jobson. So we've got that. Now that was that shows their intent, I think, as the opening track. But as the album develops, you get to see very much in the lyrics as well of Brian Ferry, how his images and the stories he's telling in the lyrics are amazing. He's such a great, underrated lyricist, I think, in some ways, and as a songwriter, they are absolutely amazing. There's also that sort of nostalgic feeling that he puts into his lyrics of a forgotten past as well. But he does all the usual themes, and he's wonderful in that. So what you've got on this album, like what makes Roxy music so brilliant, is that you've got the art rock kind of, which again is quite a difficult way to define it, whether you've got a jazz influences and what have you. And then we've got prog rock, and then we've got what people say, I suppose as well linked with the art rock thing, is the glam rock era. But I never see that really. Roxy music and not really. Why? I think it's because their attitude and the way they were dressed, they were never really in the glam rock thing, really. They were totally beyond that. They were better, much better than glam rock. And as I say, the influences we get then, we get the pop influences, which you see in the choruses, the catchy choruses. I mean, look at Amazona. I think that is just got a wonderful sort of poppy kind of song. And, in the choruses. And then you've got all these sort of prog rock sensibilities, but you get these like epic kind of, songs, which may last 6-7 minutes. They all have a wonderful feel. And then, another thing, I keep going about Amazona. It was co-written with Phil Manzanera, and the guitar playing of Manzanera on there is outstanding. I mean, I love his guitar because it's like an acid rock guitar bit. But all through, he's a real cool guitarist. He really stands out, and I absolutely love it. This album blends all that is great about why Roxy Music should be considered as a great band. There, and considering that it's an album where one of the most influential musicians, producers, has just departed, was to be, anyhow, with Brian Eno, because he wasn't there and his career was going to just get massive. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this album. I just can't talk about it enough, really. I've just been playing it again, just getting the vibes of the album, and why over the years I've grown to love it. I mean, A Song for Europe, which again was written with another band member, Andy McKay. Wow. I mean, what a song. I can say that about them all. You just put them there and you think, wow, they are a band that are on fire. They are producing this wonderful music. What more can I say about it? I absolutely love it. I really do. It's just a great, great record. It is. Absolutely. So, before you get fed up of me going on and on, I'll just show you. I know you've seen the cover on here, but here it is. Here's the CD. This is a remastered edition again, and it's a great remaster. It just sounds absolutely wonderful. There's the back again. It's the original gatefold cover. There's a track listing. Some credits on there. And then when you open this up, it's beautiful inside. Again, the back cover there. And look at this. Look at the CD. Isn't that cool? Absolutely wonderful. It's such a lovely release, this. Wonderful release. And I'm so glad that this is in my collection. I do say it is all about the music, and this album proves it more than anything. The music is supreme. Do I still think this is better than For Your Pleasure? It depends. One day I might do if I put this on and I'm thinking, well, yeah. But then I put For Your Pleasure on and I think, yeah, wow. I think For Your Pleasure is because it has a bit more personal things to it. But it's a very difficult situation. I have reviewed For Your Pleasure in the past, but in my older sort of style, I think, of reviews. I may, in the future, I won't do it yet, but review For Your Pleasure, because I absolutely adore For Your Pleasure. But it doesn't underestimate this at all. This is a quality album, and I can understand people saying that this is the best Roxy Music album produced. I can quite understand that totally. It's so near, really, to decide. But highly recommended. If you want a real good glimpse of what Roxy Music are about, you can't do any worse than try this. Try this album. It's got it all. It's all in there. Beautiful album. Absolutely fantastic. Really, I just love it. I do. Yes. So anyhow, I better go now because I'm going on a bit. If you're new to the channel, Please subscribe. We'll let you know when I put out videos and what have you. And if you look on the playlist, you'll see more about music now. Hopefully, it's building up a bit more to these sort of bigger reviews. Also, you could have a look. I do all sorts of movie reviews, TV series, all that kind of stuff. And if you like this particular video, please give it a like because it gets it out onto YouTube where other people might enjoy it as well. And if you've got any comments, then that's great. I'd love to read your comments. And by heck, it all costs note, which you can't say fairer than that, can do? By heck, you can't. So all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.